This is one of the rivers that run through the property. Water is a big thing when choosing the site for this particular house. As you can see, we're 2.5 k's up on a bulldoze track. The metal comes straight out of the river. It's this fairly rough track. Goes all the way up to a pre-existing building that we had up there. That had a whole lot of clearing. That's why I say don't clear, because otherwise you'll get gorse unless you've got stock. Then you get into fencing and doing all of that. Then you become a farmer. Hey, I never wanted to be a farmer. But this is where we're getting our builders mix from. If you have a look, I'll just go back a bit. You'll see where we've dug out next to the river there, just on the middle of the drive. Last floods that came down, or last storm that came down, put a bit of a silt embankment here. Got the fines on the top and the shingle on the bottom. It's not a bad mix. There's no accuracy in measuring it to make sure you got the right amount of fines to the right amount of mix. But hey, you just shovel it in there. We've actually used just the fines on part of it and builder's mix on others. Over here, just on the edge of the embankment here, is where we've got, there's basically no metal in this, it's very fine silt. So that's what we've actually been using to plaster. We just one of cement, one of this, mix it up, and that's what we plaster all the walls with. So it means it's easy to trowel, there's no stones in it. It's basically just a sandy mix because of all the rock and bits and pieces. But like, I'll explain why water is such an important thing. One, it feeds the house, and the other, we actually have a power supply fed by water as well as having solar and so on, which I'll go into in a completely different one. We've already got pre-existing solar on this property. I've also got pre-existing solar on my father's property that we also put in for him, and on a couple others in the bay here. So it's not something we're not used to. We're completely off-grid. We run fridges, freezers, and if I get this water turbine up, we'll have an excess of power as well as the solar and wind turbines. So it's not as if we're going to be short. I'm also going to put a water wheel on this river, just up a bit further, just down from the house, across from the drive. There's a steep embankment. My dam up the river is where I've got the hydro dam set up. It's actually just used river stones and river silt again. I carried up a bag of cement and I plastered this rocks up and built a dam. Fairly simple, fairly cheap. But where the embankment gets high here, I'm planning on doing another concrete wall, one of the 2 concrete walls, and putting in an actual old undershot water wheel with a gate that I can shut. The reason the gate that I can shut is because we get floods here. This river comes up probably 2-3 metres at least. When we drive in, sometimes it's 100 mils above the wiper blades on the Toyota Hilux, and that's raised, snorkeled, and that's especially for this block. So, you know, she's quite a substantial flood area. You may see some of the flood debris up in the embankment. Not much of it at this time of the year, as we're about 30 degrees in the summer. But in the winter she fair gets up, and sometimes even in the summer rains. But it also means you can just pop down to the river for a swim when you get too hot.